We haven't left the dock once, but this morning it looks like we're actually going to leave.
$1 million boats around here. We're just drifting through the marina with no steerage, no control really. Kind of the worst case scenario that I could have imagined.
Hey, I'm Kelsey, and this is my husband Patrick. We're scientists and avid environmentalists turned adventure elopement photographers. We've been living in Hawaii for the past 5 years. We're following our dreams and just bought this boat. Her name is Blue Planet, and we're renovating the entire thing. Follow along and watch the transformation as we prepare for epic elopements at sea. Blue Planet has been ours for a couple months at this point, and while we've seen her be docked and been out on her once while the previous owners docked her, we didn't take notes or pay that much attention. We were just so excited to be out. For the first month that we owned the boat, we weren't actually allowed to leave the dock since we didn't have the correct insurance or paperwork, but since that's all in place, we've just been waiting for the right conditions.
So we've owned the boat for almost exactly 2 months now, but in that time we haven't left the dock once. We came really close one time and undid a few lines, but this morning it looks like we're actually going to leave. So as we mentioned before, we share the slip with a neighbor, have no interest in hitting her Beneteau. She's actually gone this morning. There are really calm conditions, low tide, no trade winds, so looks like we're finally gonna get to leave the dock for the first time. I'm feeling pretty calm about it. I know what I'm supposed to do with all of the lines. I know that Patrick's a little bit nervous since he's the one that's actually gonna be driving for the first time, but I think we'll be all right.
At this point, we've taken our ASA 101 course, and I'm probably feeling a little bit too confident, but it's a good sign that at least the engine starts. Very much an optimist at heart, so I figured if we had good conditions and sort of knew what we were doing, everything would be fine. I just have to tie off all the correct lines. But clearly I was still struggling. Whoops. But Blue Planet is a big boat, especially for just the two of us to handle. Even though Patrick's a marine biologist and has spent a lot of time in and around boats, we've never been in control of something quite this big before. So he made the correct decision after seeing that I was not even able to tie a cleat hitch.
Just got back from the marina, so this was actually our second time attempting to leave the dock, and both times I just didn't feel good about it, so ended up calling it. And even though it was very tame today, I just wasn't feeling confident about actually completely leaving and backing out.
So it looks like today we should have perfect conditions. Our dock neighbor is at dry dock all weekend. There is calm before the storm, so no wind, no current, and we have a friend here helping us. So looks like we're finally gonna get to leave the dock.
Hey, I'm Jess. I'm Patrick and Kelsey's friend. I used to live here on Oahu, and I'm back visiting for the week. So excited to go out on their boat for the first time with them and get on the ocean.
Yeah, a little excited and nervous all wrapped into one. But yeah, everything looks good, so
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. Let's see how it goes. hook, but walk it back. All right, Jess. All right, Jess. You're all good?
I'm off.
Tell me when the bow's clear, Kelsey. Holy hell, we're doing it. We clear the ball?
And just like that, we were out of our slip.
Okay.
My heart's got a pitter patter.
Our first plan of action was to go directly to the fuel dock and pump out station since we were in desperate need of both some fuel and to clear out the holding tank. We'd made this approach for our ASA 101 course, and Patrick nailed it. Guys, I promise I know how to tie a cleat hitch. I was just so overwhelmed with everything that was going on, and it's still not second nature to me. After getting our tank pumped out and getting fuel, we did a few more practice runs back and forth to our dock.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Have a good day.
You too. All right, so just had a little bit of a fiasco out on the water. This actually has been a couple days now since we did our docking practice, just because in the moment we were so stressed and, you know, had to put the cameras down, had a little bit of an emergency. And yeah, so we were feeling good about docking, figured, you know, why not, let's just take it out around the buoys and come right back in. But needless to say, it didn't really happen like that.
So we were literally coming back in through the channel at maybe like the second buoy, right in the middle, and the engine dies. And for a second I thought Patrick was joking, because earlier in the day he had been like, what if the engine dries? And I was like, don't manifest that shit. It'll be fine. The boat is good. We just got fuel. How you feel?
Nervous. My worst case scenario is like the engine dies.
We had 2 jerry cans full of diesel.
Yeah, so the diesel jerry cans were down below. Our fuel gauge doesn't work properly, so now we know. We're gonna replace that. And yeah, so I basically poured a jerry can of diesel into the day tank really quickly and sprinted back up to the helm, tried to turn the engine on, and we could really only get the engine to stay on for about 10 or 15 seconds.
If that.
Yeah, if that, just because the lines I think were dry, had some air in it. So yeah, the engine was not really cooperating in probably the sketchiest place for it not to cooperate. So there's lots of boats coming in and out. It's very narrow with rocks on either side. We're just drifting there kind of helplessly.
It was not an ideal situation, but Patrick was able to, turn the boat on for a few seconds, kind of glide after the engine died again, and that's how we got back into our part of the harbor.
$1 million boats around here. We're just drifting through the marina with no steerage, no control really. Kind of the worst case scenario that I could have imagined.
Our first time out.
Our first time out, it definitely was kind of stressful. And yeah, so it took us a couple days to kind of like decompress and, you know, just think about it.
But we got back in, everything is fine. We just had like a mini anxiety attack for both of us. Learned some valuable lessons. I made some errors with tying up the lines.
Yeah, so we're both a little fearful to go back out again. But I mean, if it didn't happen that way, I don't think we would have learned. So it was clearly a good learning experience. And like we said, we didn't We didn't smash into anything. We didn't wreck our boat. We got back safely, so it all ended up working out. Good job.
Good job, you captain. That was perfect driving. You turned it like the exact right time. I know it felt early, but that was really good. The end.
The end.
It's been a really steep learning curve owning Blue Planet, but we knew that going into it, and we wouldn't have it any other way. We're really stoked to go out again, and it's been a couple weeks and we haven't found the opportunity, but that's because we're doing a bunch of major projects. Be sure to check out next week's video to see what we tackle next.